Up next, we have discussion regarding the addressing of complaints, conducting investigations of town councilors. Does anybody have any comments on the current procedure?
I sent it,
Yeah.
to you.
I will start off by saying that I think when it relates to councilors and elected officials, the anonymous process has, I think, not gone well. It's been, it's cost the town money, and prior to this, we didn't have this policy, and we all got along just fine without it. So, I don't know how you guys feel about when it comes to councilors, elected officials. It doesn't seem like the process is working. It seems like it's being used as a political weapon, it seems like, in my opinion.
It is. You're right. It is being used as a political weapon. And to me, I think, like we discussed last time, you can't put your name to it. You can't provide, documentation and backup on it. I think it's pretty clear. Thank you. We got the complaint and move on, but.
I think that, I don't know if you looked at what I sent you.
I did.
And you shared it. I didn't want to take that power away from you. Make sure that you had it to disseminate. There is one spot in here that I was wrong on, but I think it kind of puts parameters on things by saying, what Dan just said. If you can post anonymous and you have documentation, which you can provide, and that the complaint is actually a violation of the ethics and or charter, then that moves to another level. If it's just like we heard earlier, if it's just because I said the Lord's name in vain, which doesn't violate our code of ethics, people might not like it, but it's not anything that would be moved forward or warrant an investigation. So it would, at least the people who put in the complaints would get an acknowledgement. I think I put in here, we acknowledge their complaint and say that it is invalid and provide a reason. It's really short and sweet. It's just a standard response. But if there is something that was significant and needed to be taken to another level, then you move it on to the next levels. I think the reason this doesn't work is because it doesn't, because of the political atmosphere and because we have no process and no parameters around it saying this is what it is why. But we do want to keep the documents and everything as transparent as possible. So I don't, Dan, you didn't get but here you go. If you want it, you can pass it down to Sean and Ted.
Did you guys get it?
I just sent it to Ron
I didn't
because he's the chair, and we were supposed to send in our little paragraphs, and so I did my homework, teacher, and it wasn't perfect, though. There's one section in there that is incorrect, but it's a starting point, I think, and if you want, you can put it out with the whatever you want with it.
I'll just speak for myself. I think that prior to this program being initiated, if people had an issue with an elected person, they would bring it up and discuss it, and I think it's become a weapon, and I don't know if it's the right thing to do for us. Moving forward, it just seems like it's costing us a lot of legal money, and
It's
Well-
costing us legal money because we have no rules around it.
Are we only talking council, or we're talking about
we're only talking about council.
council?
Mr. Mulholland controls the administrative side. We're talking about elected officials.
How about people on boards? Because we had a complaint against somebody on the planning board.
I would say the boards would also be included, I guess. I'm talking
I'm just
myself.
asking.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know what you guys would think, but
So the boards would be included in what we're discussing for
Yes.
this
I
part.
think so. Because we would have, if we would be appointing them, so I think, yeah.
Yeah, elected, appointed
Yeah.
council.
My personal feeling is that we've had complaints made against people, and people have been eager to investigate it against certain people and then not against other people. I guess I'm torn between, I think it's a good thing to have,
If it
you
was
know,
used right.
if it was used correctly. All right? I look at the recent one against Counselor Coombs. I mean, to me, that's ridiculous, you know, to say that, you know, it's an ethics issue or whatever it was. But I think you need something in place, but not anonymous where people can ruin people's reputations and then it goes, you know.
I think
Right.
if something's going to be submitted, there also has to be evidence and documentation
Yes.
of what it actually was, and more substantive, and more background, and especially, you know, the complaints against Counselor Faber that were, you know, as they were on the surface, looked like hearsay, or where was the substance? I don't know. You know, if you're going to provide something as potentially damning against Counselor Faber and there's no real evidence, I don't know how we can act on that when it's an anonymous complaint and you chose not to be reached back out to, so we don't know anything further than that situation.
I think we also, so it's not like when this all suddenly popped up last year, we had a brand-new way of addressing things. We didn't. We have had the ability under the charter as a council to open up investigations into things, or if things came up. People had ways to submit them. Part of the problem is this gets chalked into a thing, and, you know, what if somebody submitted to the anonymous line, you know, some citizen, Joe Smith in the public, did some horrific thing? Is that going to be part of the permanent record to 91A forever? And then Mr. Joe Smith in the public all of a sudden brings suit against the town because we've gathered and kept a record of that, and it's turned into, if it's dealing with the people in town hall, I don't think it matters, because, I mean, that's his purview. That's not for us to decide. But I think when it has to be anyone outside of that, which is, you know, elected, appointed officials, if there's someone who's not even related to the town hall at all, we shouldn't be collecting documents on that. This has been used as a weapon, and I think we've had a process before that worked. And in this last year, nothing substantive has surfaced. We've just spent a lot of money.
I can tell you, Sean, my process has always been when I wasn't on the board. I was out there, I'd come up and I'd address
Yeah.
the board and I'd say, you know.
Absolutely. You would.
And I remember asking, you know, counselors to step down or whatever if I had to. But that's the way I did it. Not everybody wants to stand up there and say something like that. Some people are afraid of, you know, retribution, so. Yeah, I don't know, I'm
I mean,
torn. I'm
I
torn
still think they
between-
have the ability to contact
Yeah.
us, let us know stuff. We can look into things if we so choose as a council, but the way it is now, it's a weapon.
But I think, again, I'm going to be the
Well, please.
voice of the other side, the pro and con. So I understand exactly what you guys are saying. And as someone who's had probably the most complaints here that were nothing, that's beside the point. I think that we have no way really to hold people accountable. And that the answer would be take us to court. That's what they used to say to people at the council. When I would tell somebody they were in violation, and they were in violation, the answer was then, take us to court. Now, at least that person who stands up there and is angered, maybe once they learn that anonymous and non-cases are going to go nowhere and won't cost us a dime, but if they do say something that is actually, and they do have documents, it does hold us to a higher standard. It holds us to more transparency. It holds us to a better ethical path, which I think is very, very important. I'm a person with very, very strong principles, sad to say, and that puts me in a place where you want to constantly do the right thing, and the right thing is the people should be able to do something. We don't, when I remember when Councilor Faber and Councilor O'Keefe and me and Al Baldessaro all put together the ethics code. We didn't have an ethics code. We got pushback from the council. It's going to be a witch hunt. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And it was nothing. I wanted to take it a step further like other towns and actually have an ethics board that would review all of these things, you know, that were appointed or elected, however you wanted to do it, that actually were able to look at these things and hold people accountable. Because if you're going to sit here and represent people, you want to be held to a good standard, and you want to be transparent, and you want to say, you know what, if I'm making a mistake, I want to know. That's me. But you guys do what you want. I gave
just-
my 2 cents.
I just want to add something on my issue, okay? When my issue came up, somebody came up to me and said, oh, geez, I wasn't aware of that. Somebody else said, oh, I already knew about that. It's like, so now it's political. You know, it was a political weapon that was used against me, where another complaint came in, which wasn't divulged, but I'm going to divulge it, that I shouldn't participate in any budget hearing or vote on anything on the budget because of my investigation. So I look at that and I go, to me, that was very political. I you know, somebody knew about it. It was all staged for certain reasons. So, and yet I understand. I mean, I sit up here and I go, I got nothing to hide. You can throw all the darts you want at me all you want. All right. I was on, you know, a cop for 28 years and people threw darts at me back then. So, you know, bring it on. I mean, you can go on your email and, you know, your Facebook and attack me. I could care less. I know what I stand for, and I believe what I am doing is right. So, anonymous complaints. I don't know where to go with this. I'm torn because I know it's been used as a weapon. It's very clear that that's going on. But yet, I don't want to discourage if something is legit out there, that somebody did something wrong.
There's other avenues to make your complaint.
Like?
Like what, though, Sean? I mean, Ron. Sorry.
Sean,
So-
Sean, Ron, whatever.
You can address it directly with the town manager. You can address it directly with the chair, whoever you feel comfortable addressing it to.
But you have to understand the political environment in this community is so toxic that if you come out and you say, you know, counselor, whatever, you know, and there's people out there that are going to go on Facebook and start slamming you or whatever. So I guess that's my concern also. But I also,
Well, I think
I understand, Sean, what you're saying, all right? But if for some reason somebody files a complaint and we ignore it and it comes down the road that, yeah, this was legit, you know, we didn't look into it, shame on us for not doing something, you know? I mean,
And that still can happen. It could have happened before all of this. And I will say, like, I agree with you. And I mean, let's be transparent with the public. We've all attacked each other. We're not fooling anybody if we think we're all getting along. I have never, up until this point, even mentioned the complaint against you ever up here. Glenn mentioned it tonight because I think, honestly, we all up here got to hold ourselves to a better standard than that to drag that up. I think it would be wrong to drag that up. I absolutely, and I never mention it because I don't think it's a good thing to throw out there. It bothers me that that's out there on a public record that someone can get at.
Sure.
Because we shouldn't do that. Anybody else who wants to run for office, this is what they have to see. This is what you have to go through. This is what you just constant. Anyone can just barrage that. I think we all can be better than that.
but
I'd hope we all can.
But I look at the complaint against, you know, Councilor Coombs, and the town manager addressed that. Came in, he looked at it, goes, yeah, there's nothing there. Be done with it, okay? And that's it. you know?
And maybe gave clarification to some people that were thinking it,
Right,
and now they know that that's incorrect way to think.
right. He didn't violate the charter. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he brought up something. We all bring up things, and we don't all agree on it. So,
So Dan, no matter what we decide tonight, one side is gonna take it the wrong way, and they're gonna, if you vote in favor of this tonight, they're gonna say, oh, you're hiding stuff. If we vote against it tonight, you're gonna say this. So, we're really like, I'm just saying, before we had this program, we didn't have this weapon that people are using against the council, okay? And we got along okay. When people had issues, they brought it up, and we fixed it, and we addressed it. If we keep this policy going, I think it's gonna further, the weapon is gonna be used more and more and more. And it's just gonna enhance people to bring up things.
can we put some parameters, some guidelines on what to follow? Complaint comes in, town manager looks at it, like he did with Councilor Combs, looks at it, says, yep, he didn't violate it, da-da-da, addresses it right here in public and says, you know, complaint came in, he did not violate it, the charter, and that. To me, I think that's being pretty transparent with the public.
And you know, to be honest, the number that, when you think about 27,000, 28,000 people in this town that could possibly put in a complaint, to have, what, 2, 3 for me, whatever, 2 for, you know, that's nothing. And I wouldn't doubt if half of them are all the same person. And, no, I'm serious.
No, I
I
know.
have no
I'm not
idea.
disagreeing
But when
with
you
you.
think about it in the grand scheme of things, you're talking about a less of a, that's, Ted's good at the number things. It's less of a percent of a percent of a percent thing. It really is. And I mean, I could see if we were getting like 100 complaints a day, you know, each one of us, then I'd say, you got a real problem, shut this baby down because it's ridiculous. This is one person, maybe 2 or 3, that are just, like you said, weaponizing it. And I think if they get nothing, it's like a child. If they get nothing, their tantrum's over and they move on because it's not even going to be worth their energy.
So, Miss-
And then as we fix
One
the
second.
policy, one last thing is
No, that's all right.
as you table those things, but they're coming back, and we got a schedule for all of them. One of them was ethics. As we tighten our ethics policies, we put it out there, and I think if the community sees us moving in a positive direction, all of that stuff goes away, in my mind. And I think that's about it.
In this political environment that we're in, Deb, I don't think it's gonna go away. I think that people are gonna, like I just said with this issue tonight, no matter how you vote on this, someone is gonna say you're wrong, okay? So there's many people that have contacted me and said, hey, this is, people are weaponizing this. We didn't have this prior. We shouldn't continue this policy. And other people have
I
said,
don't agree.
like you're saying, like, hey, we should have this policy should be in place. No matter what we vote tonight, someone's gonna be upset with us. So it's just a matter of, do we want to continue a policy that I guess is, in my opinion, is being weaponized? Do we want that to continue?
So I can tell you that probably,
I'll let you guys speak.
I guess we're talking about how many people might be involved in this, and I could probably say I can count them all. The amount of people that probably filing these complaints, I can count on one hand. No, I'll use this hand, because it's probably less. All right, just to lighten up the room a little bit. But my recommendation, this is what I'd like to see, is that we set the guidelines on how these are going to be done and revisit this in
6 months.
6 months or 4 months, whatever, and say, maybe this isn't working.
And
you
then
know?
you get rid of it. At least then you satisfy
Trying.
both. You tried
Trying
it
to-
with parameters.
Yeah.
It worked, it didn't work. Okay.
Pass that
Then
on.
nobody can come back to you, Ron, because you did the right thing. You know what I mean? You tried
Just a
it.
suggestion.
No, it's,
You tried to fix it, put all the parameters around it. It doesn't work, 6 months. You just say, we tried to fix it. We tried to be transparent. Obviously, the abusers are still there. Shut it down.
I
That's
guess-
not a lot to ask,
I just don't see the advantage in versus what we had before.
because we didn't really.
do you have anything, Ted, to add, or you good?
No, I mean, I think Unless there's gonna be anything substantial to a complaint with real evidence, it's kinda hard to take a anonymous complaint serious. And at that point, if not, it's just as I view it, a Facebook complaint. That's a unsubstantiated, conspiracy theory.
I've made my opinion clear. What do we want to do?
I guess I'll,
What we want to do is do,
I'd like to see us put a policy together.
we have a policy now and it doesn't work. That's the problem we have, I think.
I'll
Can
make
we-
a motion to go back to the way it was before this last year, before January. We can go, things can come in via regular email, everything else. We go, we can take it to the chair. We can, as a council, decide to investigate, not to investigate. Those are all provisions within our charter. I think we ended up with a lot of duplication, so I guess I will say that we go back to how we were at, March of last year. We go back to that and that policy on how things were working, because you can say we can try it for 6 months more. We tried it for a year and it's been an absolute disaster that resulted in nothing but wasted money. And so that's my motion.
Wait a minute.
Good.
So, Sean, just to what you were just saying. So what if we run into the situation that I verbalized right after public comment, where one person gets the information, doesn't share it with anyone? Then what happens? Now somebody put in a complaint, the complaint fell on deaf ears, and maybe it was a legitimate complaint. We'd never know. Now what happens? You've totally protected people. If you're in my clique, I'm not going to tell on you, but I'll protect you, and I'll put yours out there, and you have no way of controlling any of this, the public. Do you know what I'm saying? So, all right, just somebody doesn't like Ron, right? I'm the chair of the council. I get it. I say, I like Ron. I'm not going to put that complaint out there, even though it's a legitimate complaint. Or I can say, here's a complaint against Dan. Dan's been nasty to me the last couple of meetings.
Yep.
I'm going to put that one out there. And see, who's going to control it? How's it going to work? There was a mechanism, but it wasn't transparent, and it wasn't out there and fair and balanced. It was one-sided, and it was controlled by the masses, so that happened. And yeah, we did put this out for a year, Sean, and at the very beginning, what did I say? It needed parameters around it. It needed rules and restrictions on how it was going to work. And we all said, we don't need it. We'll just put it out there. And yeah, we did waste a lot of money. But if we had taken the time the first time it came out, talked it through like a board, like we're doing right now, we would have come up with the ideas, we would have put it in place, and guaranteed you we wouldn't have spent this money, this wouldn't have happened, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I think if I remember correctly, at that first meeting, you were against it. But I don't,
I said I don't like anonymous
right.
without rules around it, because it's just a
So-
weapon, and I knew that from the get-go.
I mean, Mr. Chair. I
Yeah,
mean,
please.
It's frustrating.
Even when we started last year, we had a citizen come forward and
Before this.
make complaints against, Councilor Paul, and town spent a lot of money to investigate that. And we looked at it. I said it at the time, there's nothing there. We can, but, we decided, people decided to, yep, let's investigate it. So I went along with it. Came back, they were all unfounded, and it cost the town a lot of money.
And that was before this.
So I think we need to really take a look at it and say, is it really legitimate or isn't it? If it's not, town manager can address these things and just say, we looked into it, there's nothing there. But that's my opinion.
your opinion has changed.
What?
You started off being a,
No, I think that we have to do it for everybody and do it fairly, okay? So if a complaint comes in, regardless of who it is, it has to be addressed, okay? And say, we got an anonymous complaint. It was looked into, nothing there.
And that doesn't cost anything.
And if that person that filed that complaint is not happy with those results, please come forward and speak to the town manager, and, you know, if you have anything substantial evidence to support your,
All right,
Yeah.
we have a motion on the floor from Sean. Is there a second?
To move back to what we were doing before? Is that what that was?
Yep.
The motion on the floor was
Conversation
to
back and
Yeah,
forth.
to go
so,
back
yeah.
to what we were doing prior to this being initiated for elected officials and appointed officials.
I'll second that notion.
All right, I have a motion from Sean and a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Here, before you do
Uh,
that, you're going back to what policy, because you don't have one.
That wasn't right here.
So I just
We're
need to
we're
know-
going back to the charter then.
So the way it was before was if there was a complaint, it was given to the town manager, it was given to the chair.
As outlined in the charter.
That's not actually in the charter that says that. So that's why I'm asking, if you're gonna vote on something, I need to know what, everybody else needs to know what we're actually doing, because we don't have a previous policy, we don't have an existing policy, we have no policy. So this creates a circle that goes nowhere. I just need to
We have
understand.
a system that takes complaints, that is on the website, that we can remove.
Say that again? I missed.
We have a system that is on the website
Yeah.
that takes complaints. That can be for town, for the people under your, absolutely, we don't touch whatever
got
you want to
that.
do, you do. It just doesn't affect elected officials, appointed officials, or member, like, no one not in your employ, just like
No,
members of the
So I
public.
get that. So the thing is, if a complaint comes in, people should know what the complaint process is for a counselor or one of those appointed officials. We don't have a policy that talks about that anywhere, other than if I get them, I forward it to the council. So if we're gonna continue to do that, then things will stay the same, because right now, all I'm doing is I'm getting those and I'm sending them to you. And then you're telling me what to do or not. So I just need to understand what we're voting on here, because we need to know how we're gonna implement that.
So maybe we alter the motion and just, we just take away the website piece, because I think before the website came into place and these anonymous complaints happened, we had a process where complaints were, they had an avenue to go to, and they weren't weaponized like they are now.
No, I get it. Believe me, I
So
can see
that-
exactly
that's
what
my
you're
issue is, so maybe if the motion is just to take away the box on the check mark on the website for now,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
we move on
Fine
from
with
there
that.
with the strategic plan, and
That
maybe
I
with that
can
part of
Yeah,
your
'cause
strategic
you're-
plan
You're correct.
That's
is,
clear direction as to
and then
what we're gonna do.
maybe
Thank
part
you.
of your strategic plan is that we develop a future plan for this, and we just take away the weaponization of it currently.
No, that's good, because if we take that off, then there's no means by which to do that. So that's fine. That's clear direction,
And then we can work out a future policy with the strategic plan to make it correct so that it's not weaponized.
in the interim, if I get a named complaint and I'm just gonna forward to the council,
Yeah.
which would
Yeah.
be the normal practice, even though it's not written in a policy anyplace.
I'm
And
good
I'll
with
just
that.
forward that to the whole council.
Yep,
I wanna make sure we get this clear in the recording. I'm gonna send it to the whole council, and then you folks will act on it as you deem appropriate, as you've done in the past.
do you want to alter your motion?
Yeah, I'll alter it so we remove it from the website.
And Ted, are you still good with that second?
I'll be good with that second.
Okay. I have a motion from Sean and a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
opposed,
Opposed?
Chair votes in the affirmative. Let the record show that Dan and Deb voted no.
We'll take care of that tomorrow, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.